When we're having sex, deep, passionate, almost divine experiences of eroticism with ourselves and a partner, we say we are one with our partner. Like you want to zip their skin and crawl into them, right? That is union. When you have a strong sense of self-concept and there's clarity, you are in absolute union with the self. It's like making love to the very essence of you. This self-concept, the clarity, understanding that you are infinite, you are the cosmos, you are non-duality, you are not the body, not the mind, not any of the friends and family you have, your money, your possessions. You understand that you are one with Shiva. And in the most respectful way, it feels like a supreme, divine, love-making process. And because everything operates from oscillations, cycles, vibration, this kind of deeply loving, powerful, sensual connection to the divine feels almost like it's a spiritual vibrator for me as a woman. And once again, I mean that in the most respectful sense. And it's very difficult to explain it in a way that doesn't enter the human bias of hypersexualizing sex. It's a very weird sensation where you see it in its purest, most divine form, right? So when people talk about I am awareness, they're, in my opinion, jumping way to the end without feeling everything in between as a way of means of knowing Shiva. In the Upanishads, it speaks about when you claim to know Brahman, then you wouldn't really know Brahman, supreme consciousness reality. Because when we are saying no, we are implying localized consciousness to the brain, mentally processing. When you know consciousness is everywhere, then true knowledge is not knowing that's cerebral, that's part of it, but it's a full architecture embodiment, meaning mind, body, consciousness. So I actually feel that my life is extremely erotic and sensual. I also feel extremely divinely protected in this route because most of my childhood had sexual abuse in it. And it's extremely difficult for me to enter the concept of that in Tantra. So when I talk about Tantra, I talk about tantric philosophy. I speak a lot about the cosmos. Non-dual Shiva Tantra is my background. I don't really even talk about that much because some things are extremely personal to me, and it is not of this world. It is of the immaterial. It predates all this human-made structures that we have, the ways we have division and hatred. It's like you view things in a very passionate way, and that doesn't always fit into a society where your heart is hardened, right? I actually feel like this gives me the opportunity to rebuild my relationship with eroticism in a non-hypersexualized way, in a pure way. I get to redefine it. And I feel full permission to feel everything in my body, because if we're talking about awareness, awareness is infinite potentiality. So it's not really the most honest thing when somebody claims to be awareness and feel nothing, when they are not even entertaining or maybe even pushing away people who feel quite a bit because they think they're just so lost and there, you stupid little mortal. I mean, I think that way too. Sometimes I think we all have that, but there's that brand especially, like, is and you know, Shiva's considered this masculine force. And so people assume this or that, and like, you know, it's all chill. I mean, for me, yeah, it is mostly chill vibes. Um, but I'm a very devotional, strict, disciplined woman. I just don't really showcase all my personal business online when it comes to my connection to the divine. But it requires a lot of surrender, no backup plan, not leaning on your own understanding. How do you experience non duality and that deep, passionate love? I recently realized how to resolve this contradiction. It is because you are so complete in knowing who you are and the self at such a deep, profound level that you actually want to know all aspects of you and love them as equally and see them realized and integrated. So I realized in a conversation with Shiva that I actually begged, pleaded for suffering. Yes, I did. I wanted to know Shiva in all forms, just to feel that orgasmic joy again, like, ah, this too is also you. And it all points back to non duality. This is supreme cosmic information that a lot of the collective isn't ready for. And sometimes it's a little weird to even think about posting on TikTok. Or I feel like these algorithms that if I'm following my own cosmology, can gain their selfhood and seem to um, keep you in samsara, right? That's how the money keeps going, to be in cycles. So it is an algorithm of the ego, not of the soul. So it would contribute more to the separation, division consciousness rather than unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is not for the weak, right? So, like as an Indian woman, for example, part of the dark night of the soul, and I'll only touch on this kind of stuff a little bit because this isn't pop culture kind of crap, okay? Non duality means, can you find the image of the divine, but before the divine, find yourself in them first? And even if that person is a white supremacist and spits on your face, steps on your head, beats you to a bloody pulp, calls you a dirty Indian, and thinks you shouldn't even live, can you look at that person and say, I love you and I forgive you and thank you, Shiva, for also showing me this? That too is sex. It's eros, the sweet nectar of Shiva and its play showing again and again and again. This is power. This is home. Also, when I think of my relationship with Shiva, I think of a sine wave, right? So the bottom of the sine wave is, I would say, Shunya Shiva, the trough, nothingness, and then the peak is a calcified reality. The movement in between I would describe as Shakti. Okay, so you have like a sine wave that can represent a cycle or a circle, right? You have a circle. Now, you could stay a circle, like, let's change the view to this plane, or you could spiral up. You could even spiral down. But the key is, remember how I said Shakti is that movement in between? So wherever I move, Shiva will meet me there. Shiva has a great connection to me, I understand, and seems to give me whatever I desire. Because I don't have any one way of looking at the fruit of the outcome. And I don't have any expectations. So whatever I want is also what Shiva wants. We are both lovers. And also it requires you to sort of reject your body, not in the sense that you reject your senses. You actually come more online to your senses. You are aware of every aspect of every universe in your body, to the cells, organs, sensation itself, perception itself. So that is all actually being invited to come online, to connect with humanity, to feel passion again. After all, it is this passion and desire that leads to creation, whether you see it in a traditional sense of getting married, having kids because you love each other so much and so you had sex and whatever. But it's also this, at an etheric level, a deep desire to know the self and see it reproduced in multitudes of ways, throughout the cosmos. I have had feelings of wondering, where are you, to Shiva, right? When I feel especially heartbroken, I imagine myself sobbing, and if I had mascara, like, it dripping down my face, and feeling like my hair's all messy, screaming, and thinking that I'm forsaken. When really what's going on is, at a simple level, if I'm a sound wave, sound requires a medium to travel through. That's how its voice gets realized. Shiva is that medium. So I can yell as much as I want. I can be angry with Shiva. I can demand things. I can be upset. I can reject him. I can reject me. And he loves all of it and wants me to express all of it. And when I'm ready to begin my next reality, he will be right there to meet me again so that we may unite and continue uniting.